Mom's house sold for $940,000. After the realtor fees and closing costs, we cleared $800,000 to be split equally between my sister Victoria and me, $400,000 each. That was 6 months ago. The money was supposed to sit in the estate account until probate cleared. Victoria was the executor. She had the access, the paperwork, the authority. I trusted her to handle it properly. Then the calls started. First from the estate attorney, confused about missing documentation. Then from the bank, asking about large transfers. Then from Victoria herself, her voice tight with barely controlled anger. We need to have a family meeting. This weekend. Everyone needs to be there. What's this about? You know what it's about, Melissa. Don't play innocent. She hung up before I could ask more. The family meeting was at Uncle Robert's house. He had the biggest living room, enough space for everyone. Victoria had invited everyone. Uncle Robert and Aunt Linda, our cousins, Victoria's husband Greg, and their 2 sons, ages 15 and 12. Even Dad's brother, who we barely spoke to. I arrived to find them already assembled. Victoria sat in the center like she was chairing a board meeting. Greg stood behind her, arms crossed. The boys sat on either side of their mother. Everyone else filled the couches and chairs in a semicircle, all facing one empty chair, for me. Melissa, Victoria said as I walked in, sit down. The room was silent, heavy. Everyone was staring at me with expressions ranging from confusion to anger. I sat in the empty chair. It felt like an interrogation setup. I've called everyone here because we have a serious problem, Victoria began. She held a folder of papers. The estate account, Mom's money from the house sale, $800,000. What about it? I asked. It's gone. Murmurs rippled through the room. Uncle Robert leaned forward. Gone how? Transferred out, all of it, over the past 3 months. Victoria's voice was steady, rehearsed. And according to the bank, the transfers were authorized by someone with access to the account. But you're the executor, Aunt Linda said. You have the access. I do, but I'm not the only one. Victoria looked directly at me. Melissa also has access. I added her 3 months ago so she could review the statements and make sure everything was transparent. This was news to me. You never added me to anything. I sent you the paperwork. You signed it. The bank has your signature. I never received any paperwork. Victoria pulled out a document and held it up, a bank authorization form with my signature at the bottom. Except I'd never seen it before in my life. That's not my signature, I said. The bank accepted it. They processed it. And then, over the next 3 months, $800,000 was transferred out in increments, $20,000 here, $50,000 there, all to an offshore account that can't be traced. And you think I did this? The bank says the transfers were authorized using your credentials, your username, and password. Uncle Robert was shaking his head. Melissa, why would you do this? I didn't. Victoria's expression was cold. The bank has records, timestamps, IP addresses. Everything points to you. Then the bank is wrong, or someone hacked it. Convenient excuse, Greg muttered. Victoria leaned forward. Here's what I think happened. You needed money. Your business has been struggling. Everyone knows that. You saw an opportunity. You forged access to the account, transferred the money out bit by bit, and thought no one would notice until it was too late. That's insane. Why would I steal from myself? It's half mine anyway. Because $400,000 wasn't enough. You wanted it all, and you thought if you blamed it on a hack or a bank error, you'd get away with it. The room was turning against me. I could see it in their faces, the doubt, the suspicion. Victoria, I didn't touch that money. I never even had access to the account. Victoria's older son, Jason, stood up. His face was red, his voice shaking. You're lying. Mom told us everything. You stole our inheritance. Jason, sit down, Greg said, but without conviction. No, she stole from us, from all of us. Jason pointed at me, his finger trembling. Mom says you're the reason we lost the house money. You're the reason we can't do anything now. You're the thief. Jason, I started. You ruined everything. His voice cracked. He was crying now, angry tears. We were supposed to use that money for college, for our house. And you stole it. The younger boy, Marcus, was crying too. Victoria pulled them both close, comforting them while she looked at me with triumph in her eyes. She coached them, prepared them for this moment, used her own children as weapons. And then everyone started. Uncle Robert, how could you do this to your own family? Aunt Linda, your mother would be ashamed. Greg, you always were selfish. Even as kids. Dad's brother, thief, just a common thief. The words piled on, accusations, insults, curses. Everyone talking over each other, a chorus of anger directed at me. Victoria sat in the center of it all, her arms around her crying sons, and she smirked, just for a second. A small, victorious smile that said she'd won. She'd gathered the family, presented her evidence, turned everyone against me, and now she sat back and watched them tear me apart. I pulled out my phone. The room was too loud for anyone to notice at first. They were too busy yelling. I opened the voice recorder app and turned the volume to maximum. Then I pressed play. Victoria's voice filled the room, crystal clear, unmistakable. Yes, I need to make another transfer. Account number ending in 7834. $50,000 to the Cayman account. Yes, same one as before. Authorization code Victoria Thompson, executor ID 2847. The room went silent. The recording continued, different dates, different amounts, but always Victoria's voice. Always her authorization. Always her directing money from the estate account to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. 7 different recordings, 7 different transfers, totaling $800,000. When the final recording ended, the silence was absolute. Victoria's face had gone from victorious to pale. Where did you get that? The bank. I requested the transaction records 2 weeks ago when the estate attorney called me about the missing money. The bank provided recordings of all authorization calls, standard procedure for large transfers. Those are fake. You doctored them. Did I? We can call the bank right now. They'll confirm every recording, every transfer, every authorization code that only you, as executor, would have. Greg was staring at his wife. Victoria? It's fake, she repeated, but her voice was shaking. Melissa is framing me. I pulled up my email on my phone and turned it to face the room. Here's the email from the bank sent 12 days ago. 7 audio files attached. Authorization recordings for transfers totaling $800,000, all made by Victoria Thompson, executor of the estate. I swiped to the next screen, and here's the account trace, the offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Account holder, Victoria Thompson, opened 3 months ago. Current balance, $796,000. She's already spent $4,000. Uncle Robert stood up and took my phone, scrolling through the documents. His face darkened. This is real. It's not. Victoria started. I can see the bank letterhead, the official seals. Melissa, can you forward this to me? Already done. I sent copies to you and the estate attorney this morning. Aunt Linda was staring at Victoria in horror. You stole the money? From your own mother's estate? I was going to pay it back. I just needed it temporarily. $800,000? Greg's voice was dangerous now. Temporarily? We have expenses. The boys' school. Your mother's medical bills were more than we said. I had to. You had to steal. Uncle Robert's voice was hard. From your sister? From your own family? Victoria's composure cracked. You don't understand. Everyone expects so much from us. The executor, the responsible one, the one who has it all together. We couldn't afford it, any of it. But everyone expected. So you stole Mom's money, I said quietly, and then you set up this whole meeting to blame me. You forged my signature on bank documents. You invented a story about me needing money. You coached your sons to attack me. You turned the whole family against me so no one would suspect you. The smirk was gone now. Victoria looked desperate. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I was going to replace the money. I had a plan. An offshore account in the Caymans, Greg said. That was your plan to replace the money? I needed time, and I couldn't have Melissa asking questions, so I had to. You had to frame her, Uncle Robert finished. You had to make everyone think she was the thief so you could keep the money. Jason was staring at his mother. Mom, you lied to us? Victoria reached for him. Baby, I can't explain. You said Aunt Melissa stole from us. You made us yell at her. I had to make it convincing. You used your own children, Aunt Linda said, disgusted. You made them cry and scream at their aunt, knowing you were lying the whole time. Marcus was crying again, but differently now, confused and betrayed. Greg took the boys and moved them away from Victoria. Get away from them. Greg, please. You stole from your family. You framed your sister. You used our sons. Get away from them. Victoria looked around the room. Every face that had been angry at me was now turned on her. Uncle Robert had his phone out, already calling someone, probably the estate attorney. The police will need to be involved, he said. $800,000 is grand larceny. Wire fraud if she used electronic transfers. Possibly embezzlement, since she was the executor. Robert, please, Victoria said. I'm family. You stole from family. You framed family. That changes things. Victoria turned to me, her eyes pleading. Melissa, we're sisters. We can work this out. I'll pay it back. Every penny. Just don't press charges. You called a family meeting to destroy my reputation. You forged my signature. You turned everyone against me. You used your children as weapons. And you smirked while they cursed me. I was desperate. You were victorious. I saw your face. You were enjoying it. Uncle Robert finished his call. The estate attorney is contacting the bank to freeze the Cayman account. He's also filing a report with the police. Victoria stood up. I need to leave. Sit down, Greg said. You're not going anywhere. I need my lawyer. You definitely need a lawyer, but you're not leaving this room until the police get here. She sat back down, no longer in the center position of power, but isolated. Everyone had moved away from her. The family meeting continued, but the agenda had changed. Instead of condemning me, they were cataloging Victoria's crimes, gathering evidence, making calls. I sat in my chair, the one that had felt like an interrogation seat, and watched my sister unravel. Jason came over to me. Aunt Melissa, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I know you did it. She told us you stole everything. She made us practice what to say. She said we had to make everyone believe you were bad. It's not your fault. But I yelled at you. I called you a thief. Your mother put those words in your mouth. He was crying. Is Mom going to jail? I looked at Victoria, who sat alone in her chair, her victorious smirk replaced by fear and desperation. I don't know, I said honestly, but what she did was serious, very serious. The police arrived 30 minutes later, 2 officers who took statements from everyone. They reviewed the bank recordings on my phone and photographed the forged signature on the bank documents.